guys, Hackbot here, and today we're going to be playing Stanley Parable. As the game is telling us, you are playing the Stanley Parable. I've played this a few times. My flatmate's only showed it to me, and it's just kind of a really, well, it's not a fun game. It F's you up in the head, but I mean, that's kind of what my life has become at the minute. I'm very stressed by everything. This week has not been a good week for me, so just be grateful that I'm actually sat here doing a video, because at some point in the week I honestly thought I wouldn't make it this far. So let's just get started, I guess.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
So we are playing as Stanley, who, as you've just seen, is a guy that's job is to press buttons on a keyboard. There are several different ways you can play this game. For the moment, I'm just going to do the compliance route, so basically I'm going to do what the narrator tells me. If you're interested, I can obviously do other playthroughs of different routes, or I'm sure there's other people on YouTube that have done it. So.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So yeah, essentially, you just play as this guy called Stanley, you follow the instructions.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yeah, so it tells you what to do, basically. It's essentially like someone's narrating a story. It's quite an interesting game, though, when you get into all the different routes and things.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer
fired.
there.
Don't get fired. Yeah, generally good idea. Yeah. Actually, I think I'm going to show you this because this is funny. Let's get in here.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
If you stay in here long enough, the narrator gets quite frustrated with you. So I think we'll just linger here for a second and see if he'll do it.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Yeah, so you can see like our narrator is quite sarcastic, so we'll leave the broom cupboard.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I got my sister to play this when we were on holiday in Switzerland, picture somewhere. And literally it was the funniest thing, she was so confused. Bless her. Yeah, boss's office.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Ah, there we go. Right, I just faced the wrong way. Let's just go down this lift. I can't remember if this is what we're supposed to do, but we're going to do it anyway. The way you work in this game is if you're not being told off for it, it's fine, basically. The narrator will get really angsty with you if you're doing the wrong thing, so as long as he's not getting annoyed, you're doing the right thing. I mean, the right thing. Depends on what you mean by right thing. If you're doing as you're told is the right thing, not always. Let's not get too into it, but the Holocaust. Then doing the right thing in this game is just how you play it, or at least how I'm playing it for this route.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Dun, MK Ultra! Nah, probably not. Let's press the button. Bang.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Yes, he did. Stanley is brave. More buttons to press? Yeah.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Are we free, or are we just making the choices that we are being told to make, but we are thinking we are free?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
See what I mean? F him with your head.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Are we just all under someone's control? Are we just all under the control of our own
But here was the
governments?
proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life.
Right, the thing.
For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Would mind control to make people be happy, would it be a bad thing? So that depends on what happiness is. Is happiness freedom, or is happiness just a chemical reaction in the brain? Turn it off! Did my game just crash? No, we're good.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine! Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
So yeah, that was the Stanley Powerful, the compliance route. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it wasn't probably as happy and jumpy and whatever, but like I said, this week's been really stressful for me. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want me to do more different routes, like obviously you saw a bit of the broom route. There are a few different ones that you can just close the door in your office and things like that. Spoilers. But yeah, let me know if you want to see those. Again, massive thanks to Jordan for doing all the videos on this channel as well. I think they're going to be more permanent fixture, and Jen might come back for the odd video, but we're not really sure how that's going to work yet. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a fortnight's time. Bye!